Hey everybody, Varun this side from Language Academy. Guys, very excited to connect with you. This is going to be a reading module. I'll be telling you each and everything I know about reading section and things which you need to keep in your mind. You need to know in order to crack and smash your reading module. A lot of time I see a lot of students getting 90 in speaking, 90 writing and also getting a very good score in listening, but they are continuously missing out in the reading section and I have literally no idea what they need to focus on. So before I explain any of the tasks in your reading section, I'll tell you what are the things you need to focus on, what is the marks distribution, and what all you need to take care of in order to crack this module. Remember this thing, a lot of students who are not very good, being honest, no one who sits for the PT exam is 100% perfect. No one knows each and every word. No one is perfect in vocabulary. Still a lot of students do get 90. So if you know what are the targets and what are the areas you need to hit, you are going to smash it with 90 as well. Let's have a look of what all is important. But before that, I'll tell you one thing. In reading, it's more about your hard work. If I tell you that yes, there's a trick, there's no trick. There are strategies for sure, there are tips for sure, but no trick. By trick, what I mean is that there's nothing called I'll tell you that yes, this is the right answer, but if you put this answer, this will be correct as well. There's nothing like that. There's a fixed and definite answer for each and every particular task in your reading section, and if computer is not getting that particular option or answer, you're not going to get the score. So no tricks, there are strategies and tips, but a lot of practice is required to nail your reading section. Let's have a look over here. First of all, remember this thing, your reading has only got 5 tasks in itself, right? Your reading section in your exam has only got 5 tasks, but actually there are 9 tasks which are going to significantly impact your reading section. So there are altogether 9 tasks which are going to impact your reading section. Which ones are they? Starting with read aloud in your speaking section. Very first part of your exam, very first question of your exam, read aloud. Very easy, there's nothing much to do in that, but that is one of the most important question if you are missing out in your reading section. Read aloud from your speaking contributes around 22 points in your reading section. Read aloud is going to give you 22 points. Remember this thing, you are practicing that a lot, and basically the content part of your read aloud is going to go into your reading section, and that is going to increase your score. 22 points, guys, remember this thing, from your read aloud in your reading section. The next task which is going to impact your reading score is the summarized written text, where you have to write a summary in just one sentence from the given passage. That is from your writing and is going to give you around 5 to 6 points, somewhere around 5 to 6 points in your reading section. This score distribution can vary a bit. It's not that yes, only 22 points will be there from read aloud. It can be 21 as well. They can be 23 as well, depending on your exam pattern. Sometimes students get more read aloud, less write from dictation, less reading blanks. So depending on the exam pattern as well, they will move here and there a bit, but not a lot. The priority will be same, that read aloud is the most important. Again, summarized written text, around 5 to 6 points from your summarized written text from your writing part in your reading section. Then you have got highlight correct summary. Highlight correct summary from your listening section will go into your reading section as well. Not a lot of points, but yes, only 1 to 2 points from your listening section. Highlight correct summary towards your reading section. But again, if you're aiming for 8, this can make a difference as well. So make sure you keep this thing in your mind. Highlight incorrect words from your listening section. Highlight incorrect words. Not a very tough job, not a very tough task, but yes, is very, very important, I'll say. So make sure you practice a lot of that, because that is going to give you around 10 points, somewhere around 9 to 10 points from your listening section towards your reading section, and that can make much of a difference. So these are the 4 tasks which are not from your, these 4 are not from your reading section, but they are going to impact your reading section. 22 points from your read aloud, 5 points from your summarized written text, around 2 points from your highlight correct summary, and 9 points from your highlight incorrect words in your reading section. So altogether we have got around 38 points. So out of your 90 points, 38, 40 points, around somewhere around 38 to 40 points are from sections which are not, or are from tasks which are not in your reading section, right? So make sure you are focused on these ones as well. Alright, let's move on to your reading section. Now your reading section has got 5 different type of tasks, out of which 2 are not important at all. 2 are not important at all, 3 are very important. Let's have a look at that as well. Reading section, very first task is your MCQ single answers. MCQ single answers, only 1 to 2 points in your reading section. MCQ single answers, not important at all. Please do not waste a lot of time of yours on MCQ single answers. Then you have got MCQ multiple answers. Again, 1, 2 or 3 points from your reading to your reading, only give you around 2 to 3 points. Not important, don't worry much about it. I'll tell you why later in this video. Then you have got reorder paragraphs. They are kind of tricky. I'll share all the tips and strategies for that as well. Make sure this is important, you practice a lot. It's going to give you around 9-10 points in your reading section. Then the 2 most important part or task of your reading section, reading drag and drop blanks and reading drop down blanks. Reading drag and drop blanks are going to give you around 18 to 19 points in your reading section, and similarly drop down blanks are going to give you around 19, 20, 21 or 22 points depending on your exam pattern in your reading section. So these are the 9 tasks, guys, which are very important for your reading, but I will strongly recommend there are only 5 tasks which you need to focus on if you want to get the score. Yes, 9 of them are important, but your primary focus should be on 5 important tasks, which are your read aloud. Please make sure you make a note of this. Read aloud, you have to make sure it is perfect. Then your highlight incorrect words, very important. Then you have got your reorder paragraphs, your reading blanks and reading drop down blanks. So if you focus on these 5 tasks, you are doing your job, you are getting what you require and you are going to smash it, right? Yes, MCQ single multiple are somewhat important, but your primary focus shouldn't be on that, because if you just focus on these ones, you will miss out the ones which are very important. And if you do these ones perfect, MCQ single and multiple, but mess up your reorder or blanks, you are going to struggle a long time, you're not going to get the score. So make sure for your reading section, read alouds, you have to make sure they are perfect. Highlight incorrect words, they should be perfect. Then your blanks, both the blanks in the reading section and reorder paragraph should be perfect as well. Alright guys, that's it for your marking distribution. Let's move to your reading section. I'll explain the 5 tasks in detail and try to clear all your doubts. All the very best, guys. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's start with the reading section. Remember this thing before we start. I'd like to tell you that in your reading section, you are going to have 16 to 21 questions and you'll have an overall time of 32 to 41 minutes. So around 16 to 21 questions and an overall time of 32 to 41 minutes. What does an overall time means? That you'll have to manage your time yourself. For example, it's nothing like you are getting 1 minute for one MCQ multiple answer or 2 minutes for one MCQ multiple answers. It's up to you how much time you need to spend or you take on each particular task. After 32 to 41 minutes, depending on the length of the questions or your task or your module, the computer screen is going to freeze and yes, you are going to be done with your reading section. So 16 to 21 questions, 32 to 41 minutes. Very important you manage your time properly, because if you miss out on the important task, you are going to struggle to get your score, right? The very first task which I'm going to explain is your MCQ single answers, right? There are 2 type of patterns in which you can get your exam for your reading section. Either you can get MCQ single answers first, MCQ multiple answer after that, reorder paragraph at the 3rd position, fill in the blanks drag and drop at 4th, and fill in the blanks drop down at the 5th position. Or you can get fill in the blanks drop down very first, then you'll have fill in the blanks drag and drop, then you have got your reorders, then you have got your MCQ multiple answers, and at the end MCQ single answers. This one more pattern which I was made aware about recently, MCQ multiple answers in the beginning. They'll start with fill in the blanks drop down first, MCQ multiple answers second, reorders third, fill in the blanks drag and drop fourth, and then you have got MCQ single answers at the end. And the last pattern which I explained to you is very common nowadays, and you are more likely to get that one in your exam, right? Let's move on. MCQ single answers. First of all, remember this thing, MCQ single answers are not important at all. I will be very clear, very straightforward. You don't really need to worry much about MCQ single answers. They are not important at all. Why they are not important? They are only going to give you around 1 or 2 points at max, and they are going to take a lot of your time. They are going to take around 3 to 4 minutes if you want to solve them properly. But yes, I'll try to tell you a few strategies by which means of which you can solve them at the earliest. But again, you do not have to spend more than 30 seconds or more than 60 seconds on one MCQ single answer. Remember this thing. One MCQ single answer question type, you do not have to spend more than 60 seconds. Please remember this thing. If you do, you are going to struggle to finish off your reading section, and if you do so, you are going to miss out on a lot of time. Even if I go for the exam, I would like to make sure that everything I'm doing is perfect. I would like to make sure my MCQ single answer is perfect as well. But guys, let's be very practical. We have to aim or target those areas which are going to give us a lot of points, rather than trying to make sure that everything is perfect and then missing out on completing our reading section. Always focus on things which are important and which are going to give us more returns, more scores, and more points towards our reading section. MCQ single answers, not important. Do not spend more than 60 seconds on each. They are only going to give you points in reading, and yes, 1 to 2 points, and you're going to get 1 or 2 of these in your exam. What happens over here? You'll have a passage on your screen, a text on your screen. This is your text. According to PT's guideline, this can be up to 110 words long. Related to this text, you'll have a question over here, and then you'll have 4 options: A, B, C, and D. Based on the question over here and the passage over here, you have to select which one relates to the information which is being asked in the question which is given to you. Now remember this thing. What is the strategy to do this? Very first, very common mistake what I see a lot of students do make: as soon as they get this question on the screen, they start reading the text. You do not have to do that. Do not read the options first. Very first thing what you have to do, you have to read this part. Very important, you read and understand the question what is being asked. A lot of time we assume that yes, they are only asking which of the following is true, right? So we just try to find the correct information from here and just try to relate with the options. That's not always the case in PTE. Very important, you try to understand what is being asked over here, and then try to find the answer of this particular thing in this, and then match this with the options given over here. Very first step, what you have to do, you have to read the question prompt properly. Try and understand what is being asked, and what is being asked. Based on that, try to find the same information in the passage, and then once you find the information which is being asked over here, in here, try to relate or compare the information in the passage with the options over here, and then go with the right answer, right? This is just an explanation. I'll show you how I do my MCQ single answers, will be even clear to you. What are few of the type of questions which will be asked in here? Very first, very common type of question: which of the following is true, which of the following is not true. So you have to be very careful about if you have to find the right information or if you have to find the incorrect information based on the passage and the options given over here. Then you will also be asked what is the main idea of the passage, right? And this is where it gets confusing. Guys, make a note of this thing. Whenever you are being asked that what is the main idea of the passage, you have to read thoroughly, but you have to focus more on the first 3 sentences. What is the main idea of the passage is more likely to be in the introduction of the passage. So if you're running out of time, you don't have much time to think about it, what you do is you only read the first 3 sentences or first 4 sentences, try to find out what the passage is all about, and then go with a similar option, right? What is the main idea? If you have time, read the whole passage. If you don't, just read the first 4 sentences and you are likely to get your answers, right? Similarly, another type of question: what is the author's opinion? For author's opinion, you have to focus on the last part of the passage, because opinion is always provided in the conclusion. So if you have a question like this, what is the author's opinion, try to focus on the last part of the passage. Again, which of the following summarizes the author's opinion? Again, last part of the passage, primarily your last 3 to 4 sentences. If you have got time, read each and everything thoroughly, but which you won't have. That's why I'll tell you these shortcuts if you're running out of time and you want to secure the maximum points. From main idea, first 3-4 sentences. For conclusion, author's point of view or summary of the opinion, last 3 to 4 sentences. And then you'll have situation based or reasoning based question as well. In that case, you'll need to eliminate the options. So in that case, what you need to do, read the question over here and find the keyword. What do I mean by keyword? For example, let's say they are asking you which of the following is not present in India, right? Which of the following is not present in India? So your keyword over here is India. You have identified your keyword. What you do is you figure out this keyword and find the keyword over here. You will try to locate the word India over here so that you can get the information of what is being asked over here. Once you identify India over here, try to read the information and understand what information is given, and then compare the text related to India over here with the options given here, and then select the right answer. Now, before I show how I solved my MCQ single answers, would like to tell you one very important thing. Please make a note of this as well. Most of the time, remember this thing, not always, most of the time, the correct answer is always paraphrased. Means meaning will be the same, but it will be in some different words. So it is not like this XYZ will be in same XYZ over here. It can be in some different words. They can use synonyms as well. They can use some other language, easier language, difficult language, but meaning will be same. So do not just go behind the keywords. Don't just think that yes, this word is here, this word is here, I'll go with that one. Try to understand the passage and the meaning of the keywords and the information which you have located, and then go and select your right answer. Most of the time, correct answer is paraphrased. How can you use this particular point to your advantage? Let's say there are two options on about which you are confused. One of them is kind of similar to what the vocab is used in the passage. The other one is a bit different, but yes, meaning of both you think are kind of same, and both can be the answers. Go with the one which is paraphrased, is more likely to be your answer, because they're checking your reading skills and how in depth you can read, and how can while you read, can you understand the information and meaning or not, and how do they do that? By rephrasing the statement and seeing, having a look that can you identify the right answer or not. That's it for your MCQ single answers, guys. Let's do 2 to 3 MCQ single answers, and then we'll move to your MCQ multiple answers, guys. Alright guys, this is how your screen is going to look like for MCQ single answers. This is the passage you have got, which is around 110 words. This is the question, and this is the option. You have to select either of the option. You can select either option you want to. Now the very first step, as I've told you, what you have to do is you have to read the question properly. Let's read the question. We won't look at the options. Read the question, identify the keywords in here, refer back the same keywords in the passage given over here, and then we'll try to find a similar answer. Alright, I'll give you a minute as well. I'll do it as well, and then see what we have got. Alrighty, this is a bit tricky. See, the question asks you the major divisions of the Sioux people of North America are. The passage says Sioux or Dakota is a confederation of native North American tribes, the dominant group of the Hokkien linguistic stock, which is divided into several separate branches. The Sioux or Dakota consisted of 7 tribes in 3 major divisions. So we have got major division as a keyword here and major division here. So somewhere information should be somewhere here, right? Now we have got one more hint that there are 3 major divisions. Most of you would have got the answer as A, right? But remember this thing, they are only telling you that there are 3 major divisions and there are 4 options or 4 divisions here. So this cannot be the right answer. Let's read it quickly and carefully. This one, this one, this one, and this one. who together form Sente or Eastern Division, sometimes referred to as Dakota. So all of these tribes, there are 7 tribes, right? These are the tribes, they together form one division which is referred to as Sente or Eastern Division or referred to as Dakota. So one is this division, this and this together form Middle Division or referred to as Nakota, and then you have got this and they together form the Western Division referred to as Lakota. So we have got one division Sente, other is Dakota, sorry, Sente, then you have got Nakota and Lakota. So this is the right answer. First division here, second division here, and the last division here. So you find the keyword here, refer back the same keyword here, try to look for hints which are given in there, and then you figure out your answer. This cannot be the right answer because there are 4 divisions. This is not any division, and Sente or Eastern Division, they both have one division. So either this name or this name. And over here in the option it says this and this, which is not the case, right? So by default, this is the right answer. MCQ single answers can be easy, can be tricky. Make sure you spend enough time. You spend you sorry, I mean you shouldn't spend more than 60 seconds. But yes, give you 100% and try to figure out the right answer as soon as possible. All right, let's do another one, please. Alrighty. According to the passage, a significant human impact on the Tasmanian environment first began. Alrighty, what is the keyword? Human impact on Tasmanian environment. See, they're asking you according to the passage, when was the first time when the Tasmanian environment there was impact of humans. Now remember this thing, guys. There's one word over here, significant human impact. They are not just asking us about the human impact; they're asking us about the significant human impact. So we have to be very careful about each and every word in the question. That's why I always tell you to read the question in detail, because if you do not understand what the question is trying to ask you, you are going to struggle big time in finding the right answer. So they're not just asking you about human impact, they're talking about significant human impact. What's the difference? Human impact is that humans are living here, but significant human impact is when humans started significantly impacting the environment. Let's read the passage. All right. See, most of you would, what would you do is you'll just go with this answer. It says by the time the first British settlers first arrived in Aboriginal, had occupied for more than 30,000 years. So you'll say this is the right answer, some 30,000 years ago with the arrival of Aboriginal people. But that's not the right answer. See, it says over here, but the land bore few other signs of their presence. Until the early 1800s, Tasmania remained free of roads and towns. Its forests had never seen an axe or saw, and its rivers flowed freely to the sea. Means until 1800s there were no human impact on the environment. Humans never disturbed the environment. Yes, there were people living there, there was human impact on the environment, but there wasn't any significant impact which disturbed the environment. That's why it has been said that its forest had never seen an axe or saw. Means no trees were cut down and no human activities impacted the environment over there, and that is why this is the right answer. Try to read the passage again and you'll get the right answer. Alright, let's come to your MCQ multiple answers, guys. Pretty similar to MCQ single answers. There's nothing much of a difference here. Similar to MCQ single answers, MCQ answer are not very important. But again, I'll tell you a few of the things where you can maximize your score, what you need to do and what not, right? Over here, what happens? First of all, again, not important, only contribute towards your reading section. At most, I'll recommend do not take more than 60 seconds. Worst case, 90 seconds, please. Do not take more than 60 to 90 seconds. They are going to give you around 2 to 3 points in your reading section, and you are going to get 1 or 2 of these. What happens over here? Again, you'll have a text over here. The text over here can be up to 300 words long. The text over here can be up to 300 words long. You'll have a question over here, and then you'll have more than 4 options over here. You'll at least have 5 options. You can have up to 7 options as well. And more than 1 option is correct over here. So you'll have around 5, 6 or 7 options, and more than 1 option is correct. You get 1 point for each correct option or answer. and you get -1 for each incorrect answer as well. Remember this thing. 1 point for each correct answer and -1 for each incorrect answer. Remember this thing, guys. And the minimum you can get is 0. So let's say you have selected 2 options, both of them are incorrect. You are going to get 0 out of it. You won't get -2. Now what I'll recommend, I always recommend all my students is to always select only one option. We have tried and tested this method that even if you select one option and that one option is correct, you can still end up getting 19 reading. So there's no point of selecting 2 unless and until you are pretty sure about it and you are not wasting a lot of your time, right? Now remember this thing, if you have got 5 options, the minimum options which will be correct are 2 and the maximum will be 3. Similar for 6 options, the minimum will be 2 and the maximum for 3. And if you have got 7 options, the minimum options which will be correct are 3 and the maximum options which will be correct are 4. Always recommend, always select only one option. Why? Being honest, one option is easier to find. You can find it quickly, you can save your time and you'll be on the safer side. A lot of times second option is always tricky. You select one option which is right, one which is incorrect, you waste your time and at the end you get 0 out of it. So unless and until you're not really sure, always select one option and then go with it, guys. Alrighty. What you have to do, how you have to solve it, exactly same to MCQ single answers. Read this particular thing, read the question properly, identify the keywords, relate the keywords to the text over here, find the keywords in the question, in the text over here. Once you get or locate the keywords, read the information related to the keyword over here and then relate the information in the options and try to get the right answer. Most of the time correct answer is paraphrased, so go behind the meaning, don't just follow the keywords in the options as well. So go behind the information, meaning, don't just rely on the keywords. Another thing, there can be different kind of questions. For example, what is the main idea of the passage? You are likely to find the answer in the first paragraph. Now in MCQ single answers, I told you first 3 to 4 sentences. Over here the passage is going to be around up to 300 words. So you'll have multiple paragraphs. You can have 1, 2, 3 or 4 paragraphs as well. So if you have got more than one paragraph, main idea will be in the first paragraph most of the time. Conclusion or author's opinion will be in the last 2 paragraphs. Similarly, summary of the opinion will be in the last 2 paragraphs as well. So if you're running out of time and you want to make sure you're giving your 100%, you are on the safer side, you want to get the right answer, just read the first passage in case of main idea and the last 2 paragraphs in case of author's opinion or summary of the opinion. In case you have got situation based or in which you are asked about one particular thing, in that case you'll have to eliminate the option using the keyword technique. Find the keyword in the question, find it in the passage and then relate the information you find in the passage with the options over here and try to go with the correct answer. Now this is easier said that yes, you have to just find it here and there, but it's pretty hard to do sometimes. One thing which I recommend all my students is that if you know that you are not able to understand the passage, you are not going to get the right answer, being honest, in the first 30 to 40 seconds you'll come to know that this is going to take around 2 to 3 minutes to solve. Please do not waste 3 minutes, it's not worth it. Select option number C and move on. Now you'll be thinking, why is this guy telling us to select option number C? Guys, we have tested this thing. C is more likely to be the right answer in most of the cases, but yes, there may be a case that C is not even a single right answer in whole of your exam, right? But again, I want you to be on the safer side so that you have enough time for fill in the blanks and reorders. Because if you invest all your time over here and have no time for fill in the blanks and reorders, you are going to struggle. Even if you mess your MCQ single and multiple answers, you can get your score, but if you mess your reading blanks or reorders, you are going to struggle big time. You are not going to get the score. So MCQ single and multiple answers, only spend time if you have a lot of time and if you're getting these at the end of your reading section. Otherwise, do not spend more than 60 seconds. If you find the answer, that's fine. Otherwise, select option number C and move on. Please do not waste your time. It's a request and that is going to do wonders for you. MCQ single and multiple answers not important, but still I'll show you how I solve MCQ multiple answers now, and then we'll move on to your reading blanks. Alright guys, hope that is clear. If you have any doubts, you can clear it with us, and I hope you will smash it. Thanks, guys. Let's move on to MCQ multiple answers, guys, and see how we solve them. All right, let's have a look at this one, right? Compared with MCQ single answers, the passage on your screen is bit lengthy. We have got two images as well. We'll see if we need them or not. Let's have a look at the question, and then we'll use the same strategy to solve MCQ multiple answers. We'll try to solve within 1 minute. Which of the following statements are correct with reference to the colors of on the Irish flag? Now, guys, they are not just asking which of the statements are correct. They are asking which of the statements are correct, but they should be in regards or in concerns or in reference to the colors on the Irish flag, right? Let's have a look on the thing colors. Right. Let's have a look in the passage that what is being told about the colors. We are told this thing: orange standing for Irish Protestants, green signifying Irish Catholics and the Republican cause, white representing the hope for peace between them. Let's see if we have got anything from here in the options. Green symbolizes many issues, but most importantly, it represents world and landscape. Let's see where is green. Green is here. Green as the color standing for the Irish Catholic nationalist. Something to. Okay, it says may have something to do with shamrocks and world and landscapes, but here it says more importantly, it represents world and landscapes, which is not correct. Here it says something to do with landscapes, but it says over here it is most importantly has something to do with landscape, which is incorrect. Next, white represents the hope for equality. It says representing the hope for peace. Now, few of you will think that hope, equality and peace are two same words. They are just replaced or they are synonyms, but that's not the case, guys. There can be equality when there is no peace, or there can be peace when there's no equality. So they're two different words. Commonly, misconcepted as similar words, but they're not. That's why this is not the right answer, because it says equality and this says peace over here. The symbolism of the colors is as meaningful today as at the time when the flag was designed. I don't have any information for this. I won't bother looking for this because I don't want to waste much time. Prior to 1848, all three colors had little. Don't worry about it for now because we have to solve in 1 minute. Orange is associated with Irish Protestants because of the victory of William III. Let's look about orange. Why orange is associated with Northern Irish Protestants because of William III. That's right, who defeated and deposed King James. So it says over here that orange is related with Irish Protestants here, and because of victory of William III, because of William of Orange, William III, the King of England, Scotland and Ireland, who in 1690 defeated the deposed King James II, means the victory of William III, and that is related to orange, and this is one of the right answer. What I'll do if I would you and I would get this question in my exam, I'll just select this one and move on because I have to see that I don't really waste a lot of time. I have got this one correct option and I'm still getting 1 out of 2. And yes, we have tried and tested this because when we take out the proportion, when we calculate your reading scores out of 90, even if you have got one option correct, you can get 90. Believe me, guys, you can see one of my video on YouTube where I have taken the reading test. I only did the CQ multiple answer. I only selected one option. I got 90. So don't worry much about it. Let's still solve the rest of the options. When viewed from left to right, the colors of the flag are orange, white and green. Let's view it from left to right, which is green, white and orange, but it says orange, white and green. This is wrong as well. So these three are wrong. This one is wrong, this one is wrong, and this one is wrong. So either of these two has to be correct because more than one option is correct. Let's see. The symbolism of the colors is as meaningful today as at the time when the flag was designed. Rarely has flag possessed such lasting relevance. Rarely has a flag possessed such lasting relevance as that of the tricolour, the national flag of Republic of Ireland. Its three equal stripes illustrate the Irish political landscape as accurately today as in 1848, the year when the flag was first unfurled. Exactly right. So they're telling you that yes, there has been a rare case in case of Ireland that the flag has represented or possessed a long-lasting relevance of the tricolour. Its three equal stripes illustrate the Irish political landscape as accurate today as in 1848, which is this one. Right, and I don't think we have been given any information related to this, so these two are the correct answers. This is how you solve your MCQ multiple answers. Let's do another one, and I hope it will be very clear for you guys. Alright guys, let's solve this one, right?
Now, what does the question over here says? Which of the following are facts specifically concerning the ethnicity of the citizens of Botswana? So they are asking which of the following of these options are facts which are concerned with the ethnicity of the citizens of Botswana. Right, so we have to figure out the facts which are concerned with the ethnicity of the citizens of Botswana. We do not really need to look for something else. What we need to find the word ethnicity of the citizens of Botswana. Let's have a look and see if we figure this out. I'll give you a minute to solve this, and after that we'll discuss the answers. Alright guys, one thing in here, remember this thing, there may be a case where all the options according to the passage are correct. There may be an option, maybe a case this is right as well, this is right as well, this is right as well, this is right as well. But you have to only select those options which are correct according to the passage. You have to only select those options which are correct according to the passage and according to the question. So which should satisfy the requirements of the questions and are correct according to the passage as well. So over here, for example, they're asking us which of the facts are specifically concerned with the ethnicity of citizens of Botswana. Now, most of you, probably few of you, what you did is you just read the passage over here. Guys, there's a table over here, and whatever is on your screen is there for a reason. We have to take hints and ideas from here. So for example, it says the population is 1842323. Just under 2 million people live in Botswana. Can be correct. It's not incorrect, right? But the thing is, this is not relevant to ethnicity. Ethnicity is kind of social class, social background, you can say something like that. But this is relevant to population. Even though this is correct, but this is not what is being asked in the question. So we won't select it. For example, over here says the population is comprised of very few Barsawas. It says there's nothing for Barsawas here. The life expectancy of the average citizen is 50.1. Let's have a look at life expectancy. See, life expectancy 50.1 given over here. This is correct according to the passage, but we won't select it. Why? Because they're only asking us which of the following are facts which are concerned with ethnicity. So we'll have to look for the facts which are concerned with ethnicity. We'll have to find the word ethnicity somewhere in the passage. Ethnicity is given over here. You straight away come over here. Don't worry about reading this. Don't worry about reading this. You find the keywords given in the question in the passage which says Tswana or Setswana 79%. Let's see if we have any option relevant to Tswana or Setswana. It says over here, people of Tswana background are also referred to as Setswana, which is 100% correct. It says Tswana or Setswana means they are also referred to as either of the names. Then you have got ethnicity, Kalanga 11%. There's nothing for this particular thing. Then we have got Barsawa 3%. The population is comprised of very few Barsawas. Related with ethnicity, we selected these two options and you just move to the next. So this is how you solve your MCQ multiple answers in under a minute. Read the question properly, identify the keyword, find the same keyword in the passage here, and then relate or compare your options with the passage over here, and then go with it. MCQ multiple answers, not one of the most important, but yes, I'll still recommend practice a lot of these. But yes, more primarily you should focus on read alouds, your reading blanks, your reorders, and highlight incorrect words for your reading scores. Obviously, they can help you a bit. MCQ multiple answers can help you a bit, but don't spend a lot of time just practicing these. Yes, if you have finished practicing other tasks, you should focus on these ones as well, but don't just spend time on these. Let's move on to the reading blanks now, guys.
Alright guys, let's move on to your reading blanks, the drag and drop blanks. Very important task. And one of the tasks you might be struggling at, or you think it's very hard, I'm not really sure what I have to do. Guys, reading blanks require a lot of practice, but again there are a number of tips and strategies which you can keep in your mind to solve reading blanks, right? Reading blanks, drag and drop, very important for your reading, are going to give you around 18 to 20 points in your reading section, and if you do not practice these a lot, you are going to struggle a lot, right? What happens over here, you'll have a text on your screen and there will be few words which are missing, will be replaced by a blank, and at the bottom of your screen you'll have few options which will be obviously more than the number of blanks. So if you've got 5 blanks, the number of options will be around 8 to 9, and based on the context, based on the vocabulary, based on the grammar, you have to understand the passage properly, and then you have to see which words goes into which blank and how you solve it properly. Alrighty, let's have a look over here before I explain you the rules. So you're going to get 4 to 6 of these in your exam, and they're going to give you around 18 to 20 points, and points are only going to go into your reading section, no other section from this particular task, right? You get 1 point for each correct blank. So let's say if you've got a passage, and one passage has got around 5 blanks, you're going to get 5 points for 5 correct blanks. So you're going to get 4 to 6 passages with on an average 4 to 5 blanks. So that's why this task is going to give you around 18 to 20 points out of 90 in your reading section. Very, very important. Now, remember this thing, in the worst case scenario, you have to use 2.5 minutes, not more than that, for each passage. Please do not spend more than 2.5 minutes on each particular passage. If you do so, you are going to struggle a lot and things are going to be very difficult for you. Alrighty. How you have to solve them? What I'll do is I'll tell you how I solve them. I'll show you a number of grammatical rules which are applicable to your blanks. But before that, very first thing what you need to do is, as soon as you get the text or the passage on your screen and the options, please don't worry about looking at the options. Don't look at the options. Very first thing, quickly skim through the passage and try to understand the meaning of the passage. If you do not understand the meaning of the passage, doesn't matter how good your vocab is, how good your grammar is, you cannot really solve the blanks. Content or context is the most important thing according to me. Your vocab is not very good, I'm fine with it. Your grammar is not 100%, I'm fine with it. But if you do not understand, if you do not put in efforts to understand the meaning of the passage, you're not going to solve it. So if you understand the context, if you understand the meaning of the passage, you are going to solve all the blanks really easy. I'll show you how I solve my blanks based on the context. Despite the fact I won't be using a lot of vocabulary and grammar, still I'll get the right answer. I'll show you how. Again, skim the passage and understand the meaning properly, and then you have to use your grammar, context and vocab, making sure you get all the options correct or answers correct. Do not leave any of the blank unattempted. There's no negative marking, and at worst case, in most difficult blanks, do not spend more than 2.5 minutes. If you do so, you are going to struggle to finish off your reading section. Time management in reading is very, very crucial. Now what we'll do, guys, is we'll have a look at few of the grammatical rules which are very, very important. Please make sure you keep those in your mind as well. And after that, we'll move on to reading drop down blanks, which are very, very important as well. Let's get started with the grammatical rules, and these grammatical rules are going to be applicable to your reading drop and down blanks as well. So make sure you have this in your mind, and these are going to help you for a long time, and then you are going to smash your reading section. Thanks, guys. Let's get started.
Alright guys, let's have a look over here before we move on to the reading blanks. Before we practice any of those, let's have a look at few of the important grammatical rules for your reading fill in the blanks in PTE. Make sure you go through the rules properly. Once I'm done with this video, try to understand properly and use and implement the same while you do your reading fill in the blanks in the exam. The very first rule, guys, remember this thing: if there's any blank after an article, if there's any blank after an article, there's any blank after words like a, an or the, there will be always a noun in that particular blank. I'll repeat it again. You will, there will be this situation a number of times in your exam or in your reading section. There will be a blank after article, which can be a, an or the. In that particular blank, you'll always have a noun. Can be common noun or proper noun. Common noun most of the times, but yes, always will be a noun after the article. For example, um, I had a friend who helped me. A friend who helped me in the time of need. Right? Any blank after an article a and or the, it is going to be a noun. Remember this thing, guys. Alright, second rule. If there's a blank between the article, any of these article a and or the and noun, so a blank between a and the and noun, there will be always an adjective in the blank. For example, Steve played a dash role in the success of his team. A dash role, a dash noun, article dash noun. So if there's any blank between an article or a noun, you'll always have adjective. And the answer over here is great, right? If you need more information about what nouns or adjectives are, you can refer to another video. We have explained the same in another video, and that is available in this course as well. Let's move on to the third rule, guys. What is the third rule? The third rule is, if there is a blank right after a possessive pronoun. What are possessive pronouns? Words like his, their, her, your, mine, your, etc. and so on, right? So whenever we use words like his, whenever we use word like her, their, our, mine, these are possessive pronouns. There will be always a noun. If there is a blank after a possessive pronoun, after words like his, their, her, your, our, your, mine, there will be always a noun after that. For example, this is his car. We will use his car. Car is a noun. Right? So any blank after a possessive pronoun will always be a noun. Remember this thing, very, very important. You will have this situation a number of times in your exam. Remember this thing, guys. Alright, let's move on. If there is a blank between a possessive pronoun as we had in the previous rule as well, for example, words like his, their, her, our, mine, your, etc., and a noun. So any blank between a noun and a possessive pronoun, any blank between a possessive pronoun and a noun, there will always be an adjective. Blank between possessive pronoun and a noun, there will always be an adjective over there. Right, I'll just correct it for you over here, pronoun. Alright, for example, she admired your excellent performance. Your is a possessive pronoun. Performance is a noun. So excellent is an adjective over here. So any blank between a possessive pronoun and a noun, you'll always use an adjective. Remember this thing, guys. Let's come on to number 5. Rule number 5. If there's a blank right after the helping verb, what are helping words? Words like his, is, am, are, was, were. There will either be third form of the verb or continuous form of the verb. What do we mean by continuous form of the verb? Words ending with ing, playing, completing, things like this. So any blank right after words like is, am, are, was, were, you'll either have third form of the verb or continuous form of the verb. Let's have a look at few of the examples. John is playing football. Or for example, we were stranded in the mountains because of landsliding. So over here we have verb form ending with ing, and over here we had third form of the verb. So either third form of the verb or verb form, continuous verb form ending with ing. Remember this thing, this also plays a major role when it comes to solving your reading blanks, guys. Alright, let's have a look at rule number 6. If there's a blank right after the words like be or been, if there's a blank right after words such as be or been, there will be either third form again or continuous form of the verb. Remember this thing again with is, am, are, we did the same thing. Now with be or been, third form of the verb or continuous form of the verb, which means words ending with ing. For example, he has been playing in the ground. They have been trying is ing, continuous form, to solve the problem for 2 hours. The project will be completed. Third form will be completed. Will be completed by next month. So either third form or continuous form of the verb. Remember this thing can be either. Last rule. Let's have a look at last rule, guys. If there is a blank right after the word to, any blank right after the word to, it will always be the first form of verb. For example, I'm here to represent my client. I'm here to clarify my doubts. Certain measure must be taken to rectify the situation. This should, I'll give you another example. The ball is used to play soccer. To play soccer, right? So first form of the verb always after the word to. So these were few of the rules, guys. You have this document in your resource section. You can download it from there and have a look, go through it. Please make sure you have all these rules in your mind before you go for your exam, because these rules are very, very important and they are going to play an important role when it comes to solving reading blanks. Let's have a look of few of the reading blanks. We'll practice few of the reading blanks and see how you guys go and what are the rules which we use to solve reading blanks. Alright, let's move on, guys. Alright, guys, let's have a look at one of the drag and drop blanks over here. I'll show you how I solve it. As soon as I've got this passage on my screen, I'm not going to look at the options. I'll quickly skim through the text and we'll try to understand what it actually means. Let's do it. All the Botswana is rich in diamonds. Alright, so they're talking about Botswana, that the country is rich in diamonds, it has high unemployment, and then there was a budget deficit dash of a slump in international diamond market. Yet Botswana dash one of the wealthiest. So they're talking about Botswana and how there was budget deficit and it is one of the wealthiest and most stable countries of the African dash. Alright, let's have a look at the options. Right, let's try to solve. What I'll do is, now one of the very common mistake what students do is, as soon as they get the passage on the screen, they try to read this word and this word and then try to figure out what will be the word in between. Guys, if you're trying to fill any blank, make sure you read the whole sentence properly. Don't just rely on the word before and after the blank. That's not gonna help you. Alright, in 1999, the nation dashed its budget deficit in 16 years. See, dash, the nation means the country dash its budget deficit in 16 years. Now deficit is a negative term, negative context, right? So over here the word should be negative. Endures is not a negative word. Remains, it's not a negative word. Another thing, how I'll figure out which will be the right word. See, they're talking about in 1999, which is past, right? So there should be something which relates to past over here, because while enjoyed, suffered or continued, either it can be enjoyed or suffered according to grammar, because they're talking about past, right? So according to grammar, based on grammatical basis, I've lowered my options to enjoyed and suffered. Now either enjoyed or suffered, but as I've told you, the context is negative. They're talking about budget deficit, means they were going in debts or they didn't really had a lot of money, so they will suffer it. When you have less money and more expenses, less income, more expenses, you suffer, you don't really enjoy it. Alright, in 1999 the nation suffered its first budget deficit in 16 years. Dash of a slump in the international diamond market. Dash of a slump. Endures of a slump won't be right. Remains of a slump won't be right. Because of a slump seems right, but what I'll do is I won't just put because over here. First I'll go through all the options just to make sure there's no other word which can go over there. While of a slump, you never say while of. Enjoyed won't be the right answer, and continent of a slump in the international diamond market won't be the right answer. So because is the right answer and we'll place because over here. Yet Botswana dash one of the wealthiest and stable countries on the African dash. Yet Botswana endures one of the no endures won't be they're talking about Botswana dash one of the wealthiest and most stable countries on the African. Remains can be the right answer while cannot be the right answer won't make any sense. Yet Botswana enjoyed one of the wealthiest enjoyed means when enjoyed when you enjoy something else. I enjoyed the game, but they're talking about the country itself. Alright. So you'll never say I enjoyed myself. You always say I enjoyed other thing, some other thing. But they're talking about Botswana, most stable country. Continent won't be the right answer. So the right answer will be remains according to context as well. Yet Botswana remains one of the wealthiest and most stable countries on the African. It's pretty obvious continent. So if you understand the context, guys, if you understand what they're trying to say, you will be easily able to solve it. Even though your vocab or grammar is not very good, you will be able to solve it. You need to understand the past tense, present tense, and the whole of scenario, what they're talking about, and you have to have all the grammatical rules we discussed in your mind, and that's how you are going to make it happen. All right, let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look over here. The New Year is the most important holiday in Japan and is a symbol of renewal. In December, various Bonenkai or Forget the Year dash are held. In December, various Bonenkai or Forget the Year dash are held to bid farewell to the problems and dash of the past year and dash for a new beginning. Misunderstandings and grudges are forgiven and houses are scrubbed. At midnight on December 31st, Buddhists dash strike their gongs 108 times in an effort to dash 108 types of human weaknesses. Now you have to have the rules in your mind as well. Let's have a look over here. Let's try to solve it. The New Year is the most important holiday in Japan and is a symbol of renewal. So they're talking about a festival, New Year festival, which is also referred to as Bonenkai. In December, various Bonenkai or Forget the Year dash are held to bid farewell. What do you normally hold or organize to bid farewell? It's pretty easy. You won't really use forget the year augment. You won't really use expel. Expel is to kind of remove concerns. You'll never say concerns are held to bid farewell to the problems. Bid farewell to the problems means you are saying goodbye to the problems. And concern is again a negative thing. So you won't have a negative to remove a negative, right? Parties are held sounds right, but still have a look at other options. Areas are held isn't correct. Prepare are held isn't correct. Temples are held to bid fair not correct. Foresee is to kind of predict or think in advance is not correct as well. So according to context, what are held? Parties are held. There was a word are over here, so there must be a word plural over here. You'll always say party is held, parties are held. So remember this thing, minor tips or hints can give you a lot of information. So if you have got a blank before are, you'll have a plural over there, means words ending with s, boys, girls are playing in the ground. If you have a blank before is, there should be a singular word over there. For example, boy is playing in the ground. Very minor things, but they can play a major role in bringing down the options, narrowing down the options to the correct one. All right, forget the year. Parties are held to bid farewell to the problems and dash of the past year. See, one more hint I'll give you over here. You have got problems and dash. You have got a plural over here. Most of the cases, if this word is plural and you have got the word and over here, you'll have a plural in the next blank as well, right? Simply let's take off the option, let's exclude the options which cannot be there according to the plural rule. Augment can be there, expel cannot be there, prepare cannot be there, and foresee cannot be there. So we have got concerns, areas, and temples. So problem and concern can be right. Problems and areas of the past year is not right. Problems and temples of the past year is incorrect. By default, this is the right answer. So plural and plural. Boys and girls. You'll never say boys and girl. Right? You'll always say boys and girls. Be very careful about this thing as well, guys. Of the past year. So parties are held to bid farewell to the problems and concerns of the past year and dash for a new beginning. What do you on 31st of December, when you are organizing parties to bid farewell to the problems, you're doing it to prepare for a new beginning. If you understand the context, what they're trying to say, you will get the right answer. Prepare is the right answer, guys. There's no other option which fits in there. You'll never say foresee for a new beginning. You'll just say foresee things, foresee or predict things. Foresee is to think about things in advance or figure out things in advance. Misunderstandings and grudges are forgiven and houses are scrubbed. At midnight on December 31st, Buddhists dash strike their gongs. Now Buddhists dash strike their gongs. What should be the right word with Buddhist? Let's have a look. Buddhist augment is not correct. Buddhist expel is to remove is not correct. Buddhist areas strike their gongs can be, you can argue about that with me. Buddhist temples and Buddhist forces. So either areas or temples, right? Another thing, there should be a plural word over here because they're using the word there, right? So you never say Buddhist man strike the gong. Buddhist people can be the right answer. Buddhist areas can be the right answer. Because there's there over here, you have to have a plural word over here. Buddhist areas or temples. Now, whenever you're confused between two options, you have to select that one which is more obvious, which a native speaker will be more aware of, will use more in his daily life. I'll just give you an example of what collocations are. Collocation are group of words or two words which go hand in hand. Another way to say this, with two words or group of words which a native speaker will say in his daily life. For example, the two words quick and fast, right? Both have similar meanings. The meaning isn't much of a difference. But a native speaker will always say, I'll just take a quick shower. He'll not say, I'll take a fast shower, right? Even though quick and fast, they both have almost similar meaning. With shower, you will always use the word, I'll take a quick shower. He'll take a quick shower, right? So you have to see which two words go together, which two words make more sense in daily life, in normal life, in day-to-day life, which are the two words which are going hand in hand. For example, terms and conditions, rules and regulations, academic article, academic journal. So there are a number of collocations which you need to be aware about. How do you get yourself familiar with the collocations? I'll give you a very honest opinion. Make sure you practice as many as reading fill in the blanks on our portal. You'll have a clear and crystal clear idea of what kind of collocations you can get in the exam, right? Let's come back over here. So Buddhist temples is more obvious rather than Buddhist areas. Strike their gongs because an area won't really have the gong, but temple is more likely to have gong. 108 times in an effort to dash 108 types of human weaknesses. So they are striking the gongs in an effort, means they're trying to do something with the human weaknesses. What would you like to do with human weaknesses when you are striking a gong in a temple? What would you like? What for are you making an effort? You're making an effort to augment it, areas it, foresee it, or expel it. You will try to expel means remove the human weaknesses. You won't really augment it. Areas won't really go over there. Or foresee is to predict. You won't really want to predict human weaknesses. You would like to expel them. So expel will be the right answer if you have understood the context. Now if you read it properly, it means forget the year parties are held. To bid farewell means to say goodbye to problems and concerns of the past year and prepare for a new beginning, for a new year, right? On 31st of December, Buddhist temples strike their gongs 108 times in an effort to expel 108 types of human weaknesses. So understand the context, see what is plural, what is singular, what tense they're talking about, and what is the overall meaning of the passage, and that's how you will be able to solve these blanks. Let's have a look at another blank, guys. Alright, let's have a look at this one. To understand how many inhabitants of a country are poor, it is not enough to know a country's per capita dash. The number of poor people in a country and the dash quality of life depend on how equally or unequally income is dashed across the population. In Brazil and Hungary, per capita income levels are quite comparable, but the dash of poverty in Brazil is much higher. To understand how many people, inhabitants means people of a country, are poor, it is not enough to know a country's per capita dash. per capita, if you're familiar with the terms, with the collocation, you'll always use the word per capita income, right? There's a proper term. You have to have, this kind of knowledge that yes, what is the right collocation? Per capita income is the right collocation. But let's say if you don't know it, let's have a look. Per capita incidence doesn't really sound right or correct. Incidence is kind of a result. Per capita effects is not correct. It is a country's per capita dash. So there's nothing country's effect, country's example, country's lessened, country's per capita expenditure. You can say expenditure can be the right answer. Per capita, countries per capita distributed doesn't really make any sense. Countries per capita average doesn't really make any sense. Average of what? We don't really know. So you are confused between income and expenditure. You always see, to understand how many inhabitants of a country are poor, how many people of a country are poor, it is not enough to know countries per capita income, because they're trying to figure out how many people living in the country are poor. You'll try to know, or it is not enough to know what the per capita income is. Per capita income will be the right answer. The number of poor people in a country and the dash quality of life depend on how equally or unequally income is dashed across the population, right? Across the population. All right. The number of poor people in a country and the dash quality of life depend on how equally or unequally income is dashed across the population. So they're talking about, to figure out the dash quality of life, we have to see how equal or unequal income is across the population. So when you're talking about equal or unequal income across the population, you're talking about average. Whenever you try to figure out whether income is equal or it is not equal across the population, you always try to calculate average. So average will be the right answer over here. All right. The number of poor people in a country and the dash quality of life and the average quality of life depends on how equally or unequally income is dashed across the population. Incidence across the population, no. Effects across the population, no. Income is dash. Expenditure, income is expenditure across the population, will not make any sense. Income is example across the population, will not make any sense again. Income is lessened across population, won't make sense. Is, right? Is income is distributed across the population. If you remember the rule which we discussed, you will get distributed as the right answer as well. Have a look at all the rules, guys, before you solve any of the blank. Have a look at the rule with which you have to use third form or continuous form. That's how you will be able to figure it out. In Brazil and Hungary, dash for dash. Now you've got a comma after, blank over here. For dash means in Brazil and Hungary, they're giving us kind of examples, right? You'll never say in Brazil and Hungary for incidents. Whenever you talk about two countries, or whenever you're giving whenever you are giving me explanation with the help of examples, you always say in Brazil and Hungary, for example, and there's a comma over here as well. There's a comma after blank. Remember this thing, after example, after the word for example, you always have a comma. So that's how you can figure that out as well. For example. All right. Another thing, guys, see, per capita income is given over here as well. So that's a collocation. You can simply see over here. That's why I always tell you, before you start doing your reading blank, read the whole passage. Sometimes you may have the same collocation in the same passage itself. So per capita income and per capita income, that's it. In Brazil and Hungary, for example, per capita income levels are quite comparable, but the dash of poverty in Brazil is much higher. Now, 95% of students, what they'll do is they'll straight away put effects of poverty in Brazil, right? Because we always say effects of this, effects of that. That's 100% correct. I completely understand that we always use the word effects of this or effects of that. But you have to make sure you are satisfying the requirements of context, which is fine over here. And you have to satisfy the requirements of grammar as well. Now, if you read it till the very end, but the effects of poverty in Brazil is much higher. you'll always say effects are much higher. Because we have got the word is over here, we have to use a word which is singular over here. So there should be a singular word over here because we have got the word is. With is, you always have singular things. He is playing, or boy is playing in the ground. Girls are playing in the ground. We need to have a word which is singular. There are three words which are singular. Expenditure of poverty is nothing. Lessened of poverty is nothing. So by default, incidence is the right answer. Right? Effects, I understand effect sounds more appropriate, but you have to satisfy the requirements of grammar as well. So make sure you are satisfying the requirements of context as well as grammar. So focus on both context and grammar, guys. That's it, guys. These were your fill in the blanks, drag and drop. I hope you got some idea. Make sure you practice these a lot. You won't really improve overnight, but with practice, a lot of practice and practicing using our portal, you'll have real exam questions and you'll get a lot of ideas what will be the difficulty level in the exam, and you are going to smash your exam for sure. All the very best, guys. We'll now move on to drop and down blanks.
Alright guys, let's move on to your fill in the blanks drop down menu. One of the most important tasks of your reading section. And yes, over here you need to practice a lot. You need to follow the strategies properly, and yes, practice is required if you want to nail this particular section and nail your reading section. This task is very important. Not only for your reading section, this task is going to give you a lot of points in your reading section, writing section as well. Let's have a look over here. Fill in the blanks drop down. Again, you're going to get around 4, 5 or 6 of these. They're going to give you around 20 to 22 points in your reading section and your writing section as well. This task is going to give you a lot of points in your writing section. So in case your reading and writing both the scores are low, your essays are perfect, your summary is perfect, your write from dictation is perfect, this can be the reason why you're not getting your score in your reading and your writing section. Very important task. At the same time, one of the tasks where students feel that yes, this is not that easy, we need to practice a lot, we're not getting these right. Yes, you have to practice a lot, you will struggle a bit, but yes, if you practice, you'll be fine. Righty. Reading and writing around 20 to 22 points, and at max over here as well you have to spend 2 to 2.5 minutes. If you do spend more than that, you are going to struggle a bit to finish your reading section. As I always tell, and I've told you through this video as well, that reading time management is very crucial. Limited time, a lot of questions, a lot of time to spend. A lot of time you need to spend, but you can't really spend because you have limited time. So make sure you manage your time wisely, otherwise it's going to be very hard for you. All right, 1 point for each correct blank. On an average, one passage will have around 5 to 6 blanks. You'll have 4 to 6 passages. Again, 4 to 6 passages, around 4 to 5 blanks each. They're going to give you around 20 to 22 points. Very first thing, what you have to do, again, as soon as you get the passage, how is this or these blanks, these passages different from drag and drop? What is the difference? The passages over here are a bit lengthy as well. And why do you get points in writing? Because they will be more based on your vocabulary and your grammar. They'll be looking for how good your grammar is, how good your vocabulary is, and that's the reason you're getting scores in your writing section as well. Even though you don't really need to write anything, type anything, you are going to get points in writing solely because of this reason, because they are more based on your grammar and your vocabulary. Yes, you need good understanding of context as well, but vocabulary and grammar is going to play a crucial role over here. The rules which are discussed for your drag and drop blanks are applicable over here, and using the same rules, I'll show you how I solve these blanks. Again, as soon as you get the passage on your screen, very first step, skim the passage, understand the context, and then start solving the passage and looking for the answers. If you're not able to look for the answers, you are going to struggle a bit. If you spend a lot of time reading the passage, you have to do everything quickly. Let me show you how I approach this particular task, and that will make it more easier for you guys, how you have to approach this task and nail this section. Make sure you keep in mind all the rules, grammatical rules, and update your vocabulary by practicing as many as reading and writing blanks on our Language Academy portal. A lot of time you will get similar or same blanks in the exam as well. Alright guys, let's start doing some of the reading and writing blanks, also known as drop and drawn blanks, and I'll show you how I approach this particular task. Let's get started guys.
Alright, so they're talking about United Nations, that it was founded after World War II, right? Founded after World War II by 51 peace-loving states combined to oppose future aggression. The United Nations now counts 192 member nations. Dash its newest members, Nauru, Kiribati, and Tonga in 1999, Yugoslavia in 2000, Switzerland in 2002, and Montenegro in 2006. So they're talking about dash. It's the current number of members of United Nations are 192. Dash its newest members in different years, right? So let's have a look at the options. Especially its new member. No, they're talking about now counts 192, including these and these members. Including is the best word over here. Possibly its new member won't make any sense. Limiting is only limiting to the new members. But they are talking about the complete number of members of United Nations, which means including the newest members, right? Alright. United Nations Day has been right? Has been. Now what was the rule with been? If you have got any blank after the word be or been, there should be third or continuous form of the verb. Has been. Third or continuous form of the verb. Has been dash on October 26. But remember this thing, only grammar won't help you. You have to be, very conscious about the collocations and your context as well. United Nations Day has been dashed on October 24 since 1948 and celebrates the objectives and accomplishments of the organization, which was established on 24th of October 1945. So whenever you talk about day, a native English speaker will never say that we watch the day. You'll never say we monitor the day. Monitor is when you just keep an eye on something. You'll never say we examined the day. Has been examined. Examined is kind of when you are undertaking test or something, you have been examined, right? So with days, remember this thing, the right collocation is observed. We observe silence, or we will observe Australian Day. We observe Australian Day on so and so on 26th of January, things like this, right? So the right collocation over here is observed. You'll never watch the days. They're talking about day over here. You'll never monitor a day, and you'll never examine a day. So if we are not really able to get the right answer, try to eliminate the wrong options. That way it will help you improve your possibility of getting the right answer. The UN dash in peacekeeping and humanitarian missions across the globe. Though some say its dash has declined in the recent decades, the United Nations still plays a tremendous role in world politics. In 2001, the United Nations and Kofi Annan, then Secretary General of UN, won the Nobel Peace Prize. Alright. The UN dash in peacekeeping and humanitarian missions across the globe. The UN connects in peacekeeping missions. They're talking about mission. The dash, the UN, the missions which UN is taking. The UN appoints in peacekeeping missions or engages or absorbs. See, absorb cannot be the right answer and connect cannot be the right answer. You'll never connect in mission. You'll never absorb in mission. An organization will always engage in missions. You as a person engage in mission. You don't connect in mission, or you don't absorb in mission. You don't appoint in mission. For appoint you use we appointed him the manager. For connect you use I'll connect with you. For absorb, the cloth will absorb the water. But yes, engage. For an organization with mission, an organization will always engage with the mission. So understand the context and you'll get the words right. Though some say its dash has declined in recent decades, the United Nations still plays a tremendous role in world politics. Now, if you look at the context, some people are saying it's something is declining, but it is still playing a major role. Means some are saying that the power it had is going down, but on the other hand, the passage says that it is still playing a good role in world politics. So there should be a word related to power over here. Its meaninglessness won't be right, its consequences won't be right because it means result. Descriptiveness won't be right, its influence is the right answer. Some people say, or some say, its influence has declined in the recent decades, but it is still playing a tremendous role in the world politics. Alright, let's come on to here. Since 1948, there have been 63 peacekeeping UN peacekeeping dash 16 are currently underway. Thus far, close to 130 nations have contributed personnel at various times. Alrighty, let's have a look at the options. Peacekeeping operations sounds right. Transgression is incorrect. Processes is incorrect. 63 peacekeeping processes. Now, when you're talking about UN and it is formed to maintain peace, you always say that yes, it plays a tremendous role, means it has got operations running, are currently underway. 63 UN peacekeeping dash 16s are currently underway. What are underway? You'll never say processes are underway or businesses are underway. You always say operation are underway, right? 63, since there have been 63 UN peacekeeping operations will be the right answer. You can also see over here the same collocation. There were 16 peacekeeping operations underway. See, same collocation over here, 16 peacekeeping operations. I'm telling you, a lot of students, what they do is, let's say the last blank is here, they'll just read it here. They think that the information given after is not relevant. Remember this thing, guys. Each and everything is important. If you do not focus, if you think that I'll just read the sentence before and after the blank, that's not gonna help. Whenever you're given any piece of information on your screen, each and everything is there for a reason, and you have to make sure you know each and everything right. Alright, I hope you got this one. Let's move on to another one, guys. Let's have a quick go through. We'll just go through this passage quickly. Let's go through it. Alright, so passage talks about Eiffel Tower, how it was the tallest building in the world when it was completed, and how it was built, and then they're talking about other buildings as well and skyscraper things like that. Alright, let's try to solve it because we have limited time. We have to make sure we solve it at the earliest in the exam as well. The Eiffel Tower was the tallest building in the world when it was completed in 1889. It was built for the World's Fair to dash that iron could be as strong as stone while being infinitely lighter, means to dash that iron could be as strong as stone while it is still lighter, means it's not that heavy when we compare it with a stone, but yes, it can be strong. So what I think of a word, it should be somewhere somewhat similar to prove that iron can be. There should be a word prove, and then there's a blank after do, should be first form. Remember this thing, guys. Alright, to, let's have a look at the option. To implicate, no. To suggest, no. To insinuate, no. The right answer is demonstrate, means to prove. It was built to prove or demonstrate, to show. To show, demonstrate means to show that iron could be as strong as stone while it is still lighter. Alright, let's move on to the next one. I'll try to solve how I'll solve in the exam. I won't really waste a lot of time. And in fact, the Rhode Island Tower is twice as tall as the Masonry Washington Monument, and yet it weighs 7,000 tons less. It is repainted every year with 50 tons of dark brown paint. Called the father of skyscraper, the home insurance building in Chicago in 1885 and demolished in 1931. was 138 feet tall and 10 stories. So it was dashed in Chicago in 1885 and demolished, means it was kind of broken in 1931. Have a look over here. Renovated cannot be the right answer. Invented, you don't really invent buildings. Why renovated cannot be the right answer? Because they're demolishing it over here, demolishing in 1931. So most of the time your renovation is, not always, but yes, renovation is going to take place after, when you demolish a wall or something, or a building, then you renovate it again. Renovated can be the right answer. I'm not really completely rejecting it, but devised and invented cannot be the right answer. So we have got to choose between renovated and constructed. But when you look over here, building dash in Chicago in 1885 and demolished in 1931, there is no information about it being renovated. So by default, we have got constructed. First you constructed in 1885 and then you demolished it in 1931. Alright, it was the first building to effectively employ a supporting dash of steel beams and columns, allowing it to have many more windows than traditional masonry structure. But this new construction method made people worry that building would fall down, leading the city to halt construction until they could dash the structure safety. Okay, it was the first building to effectively employ a supporting dash of steel. What is usually of steel beams and columns in a building? The inner part. The inner part is of a building is always made of steel, right? So ceiling is the top part. It cannot be of steel, or it can be of steel, but it cannot be there to support the building, right? The ceiling, they are saying employ a supporting dash. The ceiling won't support a building. And engine won't support a building, a concrete won't support a building. So a skeleton of steel means the inner part of the walls and everything, which is always built when a house or a building is built. So the inner part, what is there, is called skeleton of steel. Skeleton will be the right answer because it is supporting, was employed, means was there to support the building, which allowed it to have many more windows. But this new construction method made people worry that the building would fall down. Means this new method of construction, people were worried that the building is going to fall down, which halt, means kind of stop the construction in the city until they could dash the structure safety. They could, what I think means they can verify that yes, structure is safe. Then only they'll start or resume their construction. Though, there should be a word similar to verify or something like that. Exonerate, ameliorate, investigate, and then you have got consecrate. See, you always say, I'll investigate the safety or structure safety. Investigate is the right answer, right? The construction was stopped until they were not able to find out, until they were not really sure if the structure is safe or not. Alright, investigate is the right answer. In 1929, auto tycoon Walter Chrysler took part in an intense race with the Bank of Manhattan Trust Company to the world's tallest skyscraper. Just when it looked like the bank had captured the dash title, workers at Chrysler Building jacked a thin spar hidden inside the building top of the contest. Alright, so dash title. Guys, remember this thing, this particular blank is only about collocation. It is only about collocation. Collocations are very important. If you ask me how do you go through the collocation, I told you practice a lot of blanks on the portal and you will be familiar with all the collocations. Apart from that, there's a list of 2500 collocation on Pearson's website. You can simply Google PT academic collocation list and you'll get it, all of it. If not, you can ask your tutor in one-to-one feedback sessions and he'll give you a link for that. You can go through that link and yes, you will be able to get some idea. The collocations are not limited to that, but yes, we'll give you a very good idea of what collocations are. Captured the dash title. There should be something like desired title. There's nothing called informal title or meaningless title. You are probably confused between royal title or Kuwaiti title. Remember this thing, Kuwaiti title is one of the most often used collocation. Kuwaiti title means a desired title, right? If you are not really familiar with the collocations, you may end up choosing royal title. So reading blanks or reading section, I always tell, is more about practice. If you practice a lot, you are going to make it. Otherwise, things can be difficult. I hope you got it. Was more based on collocations and context. Let's do another one, guys. Alright, let's do this one. The desire to build big is nothing new, but buildings have been used to show off power and wealth, to honor leaders or religious beliefs, to stretch the limits of what's possible, and even as simple dash among owners, families, architects, and builders. Some of the most dash buildings of the past include pyramids in Egypt, the skinny towers stretching towards the sky in Italian hill towns, and Gothic cathedrals of France. While these buildings may look different, so basically, they're talking about buildings of the past as well and how they are built. Alright, let's try to solve it. The desire to build big is nothing new, means everyone wants to have big buildings. Big buildings have been used to show off power and wealth, show off power, to honor leaders or religious beliefs, to stretch the limit of what's possible, means people go out of their limit or do more than what they can afford to. And even as simple dash among owners, families, architects, and builders. So guys, over here they have told you that yes, to stretch the limit of what's possible means people are going beyond their limit of what they can afford to build buildings, and dash among owners, families, and architects. What can be among owners when or families when they're going beyond their limit? When I'm going beyond my limit to do something, I am competing with another person. So the right answer won't be understanding, won't be ideas, or won't be antagonist. It will be competition. Remember this thing, guys. Competition. Why competition? Because they're stretching the limit of what's possible. They're showing off their power and wealth, and this is between or among owners, families, architects, or builders. So there's a competition going on because people are going above or beyond. They're doing more than what's possible, going beyond their limits. Alright, some of the most dash buildings of the past include pyramids in Egypt, the skinny towers stretching towards the sky in Italian hill town, and Gothic cathedrals of France. Some of the most dash buildings. What is the right word which will go with buildings? Drastic buildings. See, drastic is one word you always use with change. You don't really use the word drastic with buildings. Dramatic buildings is a collocation used. Dramatic building is more used for things like dramatic buildings are buildings which are related to a story or something of the past. Can be the right answer over here, but let's have a look at the other options. Theatrical buildings won't be the right answer. Theatrical word is more used for movies or arts. And natural building, there's nothing called natural building. You'll never find a natural building. A building is never made by nature. It's kind of man-made thing. So dramatic building is the right answer based on our elimination, based on the understanding of context, collocation, and grammar. Alright, let's come on to, while these types of buildings may look different from each other, they all have one thing in dash. This is pretty easy, being honest. Even though they are different or they look very different from one or the other, they have one thing in common. That's pretty easy. You always say, even we are different, we have one thing in common. You'll never say we have one thing in general or one thing in average or one thing in ordinary. You always say one thing in common. They were built with masonry or stone walls supporting most of the weight, including that of the floor, people, everything the rooms contain. Because of this, height of these buildings was limited by how massive and heavy they had to be at the base. Two dash in the 19th century paved the way for a whole new type of building, the skyscraper. The first was development of safe elevator. Primitive elevators of various designs had been used for centuries and starting in the mid-19th century. Two dash in the 19th century. Two expansions, two progressions, two enlargements, or two developments. See, enlargement, they haven't really mentioned that yes, something was made to be, or it was increased, or some size was increased. Enlargement is always used whenever you say that yes, we have increased it further. But he has paved the way for a whole new type of building, means there was kind of some new invention. So the right answer over here will be development, because expansion is to expand the existing thing, progress in again, to increase something or progress in the same existing thing. But development means you have got something new which has changed, or which has made it possible for a whole new type of building, which were the elevators. So there were two developments, means kind of inventions or new things which paved a whole new type of a way for a whole new type of building. The first was development of a safe elevator. Primitive elevators of various designs had been used for centuries, and starting in the mid 19th century, steam operated elevators were used to move materials in factories, mines, and warehouses. But these elevators were not dash safe for people. If the cable broke, they could plummet to the bottom of the elevator shaft. Then it will make so developed. See, developed is here as well. Then he developed, so you can get some idea about developments over. So first, these two developments were there, and then in 1853, an American inventor developed another safety device. So you can get some hint from here as well. They're talking about development again over here. This new development, right? First, these two developments and the new development. I told you, don't just read till the last blank, read till the last word. You will find a lot of collocations in the passage itself. So we can make sure we are sure about this thing, that this collocation or this blank is right. So let's solve this one. But these elevators were not dash for people, were not measurably safe for people, were not only were considered or was alright. So measurably only considered or perceptively considered safe is the right answer. If you say, you'll always say, let's think of a scenario, you'll always say, I don't consider this thing to be safe. I don't consider bike to be safe. You'll never say, I only consider bike to be safe. Or, you won't really say, this is not only safe. Or you'll never say, this is not measurably safe or perceptively safe. You always say this is not considered safe for people, another collocation. So that's it, guys. We have got the right answers. Reading and writing blanks, or your drop down blanks, are not that straightforward. That is not something which you're not going to develop overnight. This is going to take some time, I'm telling you again and again. But remember this thing, once you practice a lot, once you go through the collocation list, once you practice a lot of these on the website, you are going to do it. Remember this thing, in the beginning, first 30 to 40 reading and writing blanks are going to be difficult. You are going to struggle a bit. You are trying, you'll be thinking, I'm not getting there, they all are similar, I'm not really getting the answer. But believe me, trust me, first of all, practice 50 drop and down blanks from the website or the portal, and you will progress, your accuracy will improve, and by the time you are going to sit for your exam, you are going to make it happen, and you will be very confident. That's it, guys. Make sure you go through all the rules and practice a lot of reading section, and you are going to smash it. All the very best, guys. I hope you have understood it. Whatever I was trying to explain, you are going to practice and you're going to make it happen. More power to all of you guys, and let's move on. Thank you very much.